Can you put some bones on that? Why do you say they treat their citizens better?
Clearly, within Israel, then Arab citizens obviously vote. They can serve in the Knesset. They can be judges. Some of the most robust organizations speaking up for Palestinians are organizations like B'Tselem, the human rights organization. That does not happen in Egypt, which obviously massacres Egyptians who support democracy. We've seen what happens in Syria.
Defending Israel. When was the last time you had an opportunity to defend Israel? Some of us are great celebrities, and we can choose to take our God-given gift and to be able to defend Israel through our talents or not. Individuals, we all have been exposed to anti-Semitism in the last 700 days since October 7. And how often are we brave enough to be able to talk the truth and to defend Israel? Bill Maher is one of those who decided to use his platform, to use his celebrity status to be able to set the record straight when needed. God bless him. Let's look at this together. Let's view this together. And I think it will warm your heart with the bravery to be able to come out and to say what he said. Kindly subscribe to our channel. A little bit of light pushes away a lot of darkness.
Frustrating to me because there was no one on liberal media to defend Israel, really. We've become this country now where we're kind of one-sided on this issue. I would also like to say off the bat that I don't think kids understand, and when I say kids, I mean the younger generations, that you can't learn history from Instagram. There's just not enough space. So I want to go over some of the history, but first I read your column on it, even-handed and brilliant as usual. But let me just quote you off the bat. You say, at home, Israel has a robust democracy that gives more rights to Arab citizens than its neighbors do. This was after all a war with Gaza. Thank God Israel treats its Arab citizens better than Egypt, Syria, or Saudi Arabia treat their Arab citizens. I didn't see much of that in the press, so I was glad to see you say it. Can you put some bones on that? Why do you say they treat their citizens better, their Arab citizens?
So, I also said a lot more. And clearly within Israel, then Arab citizens obviously vote. They can serve in the Knesset. They can be judges. Some of the most robust organizations speaking up for Palestinians are organizations like B'Tselem, the human rights organization. That does not happen in Egypt, which obviously massacres Egyptians who support democracy. We've seen what happens in Syria. But I would also say that, I made that point for context. I think it's important to understand that that Israel at home truly is robust. But, I don't think that's a defense for Israel engaging in possible war crimes in Gaza or engaging.
Well, Gaza fired 4,000 rockets into Israel. What would you say Israel should have done instead of what they did?
So
how could you not commit?
So, international lawyers are pretty clear that they have a right to defend themselves. They have a right to respond at military targets, but there was a sense that the response was probably a war crime because it did not sufficiently avoid civilian casualties.
But they purposely put the rockets in civilian places. That's their strategy.
Well, likewise, Israel's defense ministry is in a civilian area. Both sides do this, partly because they're crowded countries. I do think that Hamas particularly does this, and I think that's a war crime on the part of Hamas. And clearly, Hamas is engaging in war crimes when it shells
War
Israel.
is a crime. It seems like a silly argument when people go to war. There are certain things that are beyond the pale. This seems like, it was a normal war. People die in war. It's a horrible thing. But
we have developed laws of war precisely to restrain the inhumanity of war. We don't allow chemical weapons.
But I don't know how else you respond to when you have what if Canada fired 4,000 rockets into America. Or Mexico, which is an even better analogy because we actually did steal the land from Mexico. I would submit that Israel did not steal anybody's land. This is another thing I've heard the last couple of weeks, words like occupiers and colonizers and apartheid, which I don't think people understand the history there. The Jews have been in that area of the world since about 1200 BC, way before the first Muslim or Arab walked the earth, 1,000 years before. I mean, Jerusalem was their capital. Okay, so if it's just about who got there first, it's not even close. There have been a continuous Jewish presence. Yes, the Jews were the ones who were occupied by everybody. The Romans took over at some point, and then the Persians and the Byzantines, and then the Ottomans. So yes, there was colonization going on there. Beginning in the 20th, 19th century, they started to return to Palestine, which was never an Arab country. There was never a country called Palestine that was a distinct Arab country. And yes, there was a problem there because there was two people who wanted to share the land, which is why the UN in 1947 said, okay, we're going to partition it. We have the map. I want to show it. People forget what the map looks like. This is what was on the table at the beginning. The green is the part that the Arab population would have gotten. It's a good part of the country. It's the good part, a lot of it. Look what Israel has, a little sliver by the coast and the desert in the south. That second map is what Israel has today. Yes, it is a lot more. But doesn't it behoove the people who rejected the treat, the half a loaf, and then continue attacked? Hamas's charter says they just want to wipe out Israel. Their negotiating position is you all die. And, as far as Gaza goes, it's amazing to me that the progressives think that they're being progressive by taking that side of it, the Bella Hadids of the world, these influencers. I just want to say, in February of this year, a Hamas court ruled that an unmarried woman cannot travel in Gaza without the permission of a male guardian. Really? That's where the progressives are. Bella Hadid and her friends would run screaming to Tel Aviv if they had to live in Gaza for one day.
Right. But, I've been to Gaza any number of times, and ordinary Gazans complain about Hamas all the time. I did not perceive Bella Hadid as defending Hamas. I saw her as speaking up for, the 67 kids in Gaza who were killed.
Well, she's from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, is I think what she chanted with people. That is a PLO slogan that means Israel from the river to the sea, is that there will be no more Israel.
And that is what their wishes are. The wishes is to annihilate Jewish people from the Middle East. It's not about real estate. It's not about Israel. This is why a two-state solution has never been a solution. It's not even a starter because they're not interested in two states. They just want one state, their state. They don't want Jewish people to exist in the Middle East. And it's so important to set the facts on the table. And the way Bill Maher compared, he asked a question about Montreal, but what about Mexico? Well, I personally can relate to it because I live in San Diego. I've lived here for the last 40 years. San Diego is neighboring with Mexico, Tijuana, Mexico. Yes, San Diego used to be Mexico. And in USA, yes, occupied San Diego from Mexico and annexed it to become part of America. Now, how would you respond if Tijuana would begin starting with Katyusha rockets and then larger missiles, and begin launching 4,000 missiles into San Diego? I ask you the question, would America just sit by and act with restraint and not have this disproportionate response? Yes, San Diego's got the Miramar Navy base, there's the Coronado Navy base, and there's a lot of strategic important military installations here in San Diego, Camp Pendleton. And yet, if Tijuana were to send over one missile to San Diego, what would have happened to Tijuana? We cannot have two standards in the world. It cannot be that Israel should just sit tight and absorb 4,000 missiles from an enemy who's swearing to its annihilation. In Hamas's charter, it is about the annihilation of Israel. Annihilation of Israel in a way like what happened on October 7, and they vow to repeat it again and again and again until we stop it. God bless Bill Maher for coming out and using your platform to talk the truth. Each one of us should learn a lesson and also talk the truth. The truth will always prevail. God bless you. God loves you.